Can you believe it? December already. Here we are at the beginning of the end of 2021. I know a lot of people are probably super excited that 2021 is coming to an end, but all I have to say to that is buckle your seats because 2022 is going to be a doozy. All the stuff that's been coming from all of the different angles are going to they're going to converge into this explosion of awareness coming out in a big way where we cannot deny them, and they're going to start connecting with one another. The medical deceptions and the governmental deceptions and the mainstream media deceptions and the church deceptions and the business, corporate, all of those deceptions are going to come together and culminate in an awareness of how we've been participating in a game of lies. We've been playing inside of a game of lies, and the desire for the truth is causing a lot of us to wake up. But to wake up, you have to acknowledge the power that you have had, which means you've been using the power to manifest to literally against ourselves, to deny our ability to connect in expansive ways, to connect to the truth and open up and expand. We've been using our power to contract through free will. We've been choosing to believe the lies, which means we were lying to ourselves, buying into external idols, external authority. And in the giving our power to external authorities, we are co-creating this insanity. And it's the reversal of that process that shifts everything. We've got to be the ones who accept. I gave you power over me. I got to take it back. You didn't do this to me. I volunteered to believe what you were teaching me. Granted, I might have been a child. I didn't know any different. My parents didn't know any different. So there's a process of forgiveness. They didn't know what they were doing. Then forgiving self. I didn't know what I was doing because I was unconscious. But who chose to become unconscious? I did. That's what this entire section that we have been reading is all about. We are in chapter 27 in the Course in Miracles. Chapter 27 is the healing of the dream. We have to heal the dream. We have to recognize, number one, that we are the dreamer of the dream, and we are healing our mind within the dream. While it appears that this is a 3D world, we are healing our perception about it. And that is where we take our power back. That is how, let's see, let me mute you, Kat. Here we go. That is how we heal ourselves from the insanity within this dream, is to recognize that it is my mind that I have been using to project out their power. Power is out there instead of in me. Nobody did that to us. Nobody made us believe what we were being taught. At some point, we have to accept responsibility. I received the lie and made it my truth. And again, no shaming anybody. We don't need to blame anybody. Nobody needs to go through, and even though many will, I did, shame ourselves for not knowing better. We were playing the game the way we were supposed to play it, which was to fall asleep, to totally, completely fall into disconnection. Then in this particular section that we're reading, section number 7, the dreamer of the dream is the title of it. We are the dreamer. And we are the dreamer of a collective dream. We do collective dreams with family. We do collective dreams with our culture. We do collective dreams with a country, with maybe the school that we go to. If you're Ivy League or Harvard, oh, that's a collective dream. This is special. Anything that creates agreement of two or more becomes a collective dream that both have to choose to let go of. And it starts with one. One chooses not to believe that anymore and pulls out of that dream until there are none left, except for one with nobody who agrees with them. Eventually they have, if you don't have collective agreement, then you can't perpetuate that. You can believe it for yourself, but that's, you can do that if you want to. So we left off after reading paragraph number 9. So today we will start with paragraph number 10. But before we start that, and this is just such a powerful, powerful section. Before we start that, I just want to open this up and ask anybody who wants to share. Good to see you there, Jen. So wonderful to have you here. Share. Were you able to utilize the teachings of A Course in Miracles during the holidays with your family for Thanksgiving, with your friends? Were you able to be the creator of a more wonderful experience? Did you choose to shift and lift into the higher frequencies of love? Or did you shift and drift? Did you react? Or did you respond deliberately and consciously? I want it, whoever wants to share, by all means, please do so. And I'll start. I had my daughter and grandbaby. They were in town for almost 2 weeks. They actually left today, took them to the airport. My eyes, got bags under my eyes, being up with a baby in the middle of the night and early in the morning so mama could get a little sleep. Definitely was a lot of fun, very, very tiring. But inside of that dream that I have a tired body, I remember that I'm not a body. I'm as God created me. And I deliberately used my conscious ability to co-create with him opportunities for us to soul have lots of moments where we were connecting. And I was deliberately, he may not have been, obviously I couldn't have a conversation with him about it, but I am certain, I could feel it, knows he's not his body. He's not fully solidified in that body, even though the body creates limitations. But for me, I was using the opportunity to be with him, to not let my body tell me, oh my God, I'm dragging, like so many, my daughter, oftentimes would say, I'm dragging, I have no energy. And I'm using that as, all right, let me shift and lift. I am not a body. I chose to have this physical incarnation so that I could have the opportunity to enjoy, that's where joy is, to enjoy holding this little baby. So if I am not getting more sleep for this physical vessel, I can choose to energize this vessel through my gratitude for the experience. And my joy and my love for that little baby allows me to tap into the voice of God, the voice of reason that says, I don't have to succumb to the things of this world. I can be in it, but not of it. So I use Course in Miracles all the freaking time. It's just the way it is. So who wants to share opportunities for you to use the Course in Miracles over the Thanksgiving holidays? Just unmute yourselves whenever you're ready to share. I'm sure some of you have some wonderful stories. Or maybe everybody was that's just where you live, so there's nothing to tell.
I can share something.
Go for it, sweetie.
Well, I now became very aware of, the Thanksgiving period is a social norm that's put out by human beings in one part of the world, and that everybody who's involved with it, in terms of the United States and I guess the diaspora of where US citizens are all involved with agreeing to this social agreement. But I'm also aware that everybody's got their own reasoning behind why they're participating, because everybody's going to be like a fingerprint in how they're relating to the Thanksgiving. And for me, it's just in a way, like Christmas, it's a time for people to come together and celebrate one another. But everybody's got their own version of it, why they come together. And that's so amazing, the unification of coming together for individual reasons, even though there's similarities amongst everybody. Like we've all got a heart, a lungs, and stomach, but they all operate individually, affected by our own thoughts, emotions, and everything. It's interesting. So I was very aware of that. Being aware of my own responsibility in agreeing to the social norm.
Well, thank you for being part of my family's social norms. So fun, because you got to hear some and observe some dynamics. Miss Cat.
Hi. Well, it was a very interesting because my grandson Garland came down from Nashville. We hadn't seen him long, and he obviously came with his fiance and her little girl. And there's been an issue with Tessa, with his girlfriend, and she's been less than kind to both Kelly and myself. And that Kelly's my older daughter. So it was like, well, what's it going to be like? You know, how this is a true test whether I walk the talk because of the situation. And I found it easy. I found it very easy to just forgive her and just be in the moment, which was precious. So without the Course in Miracles and all the work all these years I've done, I don't know if without a Course in Miracles and you, I don't think I would have been that high consciousness. In fact, I'm sure. Well, anyway, it was wonderful. It was a great experience. And I came from a loving place and a forgiving place. And so I loved her myself because of that, because it went really well, really, really well.
Oh, I love hearing that, Kat. And you know, once we realize that everything is a lesson God would have us learn, she was just giving you the opportunity for you to see that you have chosen to be in a higher frequency than not. I'm going to be sending out a newsletter tomorrow. And in it, there's a link to a video that I did yesterday. And it's about choosing, drawing the line. Draw the line. Where do you want to operate from? And for me, this is where love is. I have drawn a line that I want to be at love or above. So I still have room to grow. Anything below this line down here, the line of fear, that's the world of the ego. The ego is absolutely 100% grounded inside of fear. So we have to make a decision. For many, many years, we're in self-awareness. We are willing to waffle up and down. We go up and down. We know the truth, but we react, with the ego, the need to be right. We want to be happy, but we choose to be right. So, I've been there, for so many years going up and down. The section that we're in the course right now, if I'm dreaming the dream, if I'm choosing what frequency I operate from, if I'm choosing what belief I'm at, why the hell would I choose to suffer when I know I can shift and lift and be free? When that dawns on you, and I know obviously it has for you and for, whoever's on this call, all these years studying truth, whether it's a course or whatever else you might be studying, at some point it dawns on you, I get to choose if I'm going up and down. I choose through the thoughts that I'm believing to be righteous and angry and disconnected and contracted, defensive and attacking, or to let it go and just be entertained by the insanity of those who just don't understand that they are in control of their thoughts and how they perceive the world. Once you see that it is all in our mind and how we perceive things, why would you want to drop your frequency? Because to drop your frequency is to activate sickness, discomfort, irritation, aggravation, anxiety, you have to, I feel myself boom, 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 going down, down, down. It's like an elevator. I go floor to floor to floor. Oh my God, I'm in anger. Oh my God, I'm in apathy. Oh my God, I'm in, in guilt. I see myself going down, and it's happening inside of me. It's never around me. Around me gives me the opportunity to see what floor am I on. And the vista is way more beautiful in the freaking penthouse. So why not go to the top and stay there? So congratulations for doing that.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
absolutely. Who else wants to share?
I'll share. This is Jen.
Hello.
Hi. So this is a difficult share for me. This happened actually before Thanksgiving, but I had a family member who came to visit me who I'm just going to say we got in a conflict over the use of my car, which wasn't available to them at the time that they wanted it to be. Even there were lots of solutions to that, like my dropping them off or paying for Uber or whatever. And this person got so upset that they began to throw things in my kitchen and actually dented my refrigerator, started pounding on my refrigerator. And I felt like very, what is the word for it? I felt that both my emotional and physical safety were at risk there. And so I very calmly invited them to leave my home. And it seemed like the calmer I was in response to this person's fury, the more angry they got. And I guess that's what I just want to ask people as we become higher vibrational and are able to kind of stay centered through a lot of adversity. Is anybody else experiencing this kind of, it's almost like an exaggerated response to not being triggered? I think this person was really trying to throw me off my center, but I didn't want to do that. And even when this person left and they're like, telling me, oh, I'm never, I don't want to be a part of your life anymore. I've continued to say, hey, I love you and I'll miss you if you choose that. But it's painful and it's baffling to me how it all went down. I just don't even get it. So that was my holiday aggravation, whatever. And I'm still, I've reached out once since then to say, hey, how are you doing? And, no response. And I've just kind of stayed within myself, but it was really a weird experience.
Well, what I'm going to say about that is congratulations. You drew to yourself an opportunity with somebody close enough to be in your home and close enough to maybe miss them and miss the connection because of the disconnection that has happened. Every irritation is an invitation to see your ego's motivation. If you take what is happening and you kind of flow with it, you activate the mind of God, you move to the level of reason where you accept they are where they are. So if they are down here and you are somewhere up here in acceptance, well, in your higher frequency, you can observe what is and not take it personally. Then you can be in a state that, here's the trick. And I love this. One of the characteristics of a teacher of God, somebody who operates at that frequency of love or above, is to joy. You have to be in a state of joy. And joy, what joy means is that you look at where joy is, right up here. You sit here, you shift and lift yourself to joy. And what that does is you begin to enjoy the opportunity for growth. Just sit back and go, wow, this person just had a meltdown over this situation where there was another alternative. They're a reflection of your own ego. Where have I done that? Because just like me, I have had moments where I totally reacted to things that were absolutely stupid. So you tell yourself in honesty, where have I done that? Every irritation lets you see, it's an invitation. If you choose to enjoy the opportunity, where did I do that? Because if it bothers you, if it brings up sadness, if it brings up anger, frustration, whatever it brings up that is unlike love, it's something in you that needs to be forgiven. So when you can see them as the teacher that just came into your home, you had no idea you had an opportunity to have your own guru visiting you. And in that moment, you get to be in gratitude for what you get to heal in you. They are a small, the micro of the macro. They are a piece of the collective puzzle. So can you handle something relatively minor in the big scheme of things? It's preparing you for the major that is coming, that is going to be a lot more crazy next year. It's going to get crazier when we have to make the big choices that are coming. So we're being tested with the relatively smaller ones, personal. That's why they're a little smaller, because they're like that, something like that. Because the bigger tests are coming. Are we going to lose our center when the government mandates something big that it appears we have no choice? Are we going to be totally, completely devastated because the financial markets, the banks shuts down, there's no money, there's no ability to access anything? How am I going to be in that space? Well, if you find your center with relatively small things, you will know where to find your center with the bigger things. It's preparation. So yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's baffling, but only if you use it to have it be a mirror of where have you done something like that. And it will never be the exact situation, but if you feel what gets activated in you, is it anger? Is it disappointment? Is it being disrespected? Whatever it is, whatever that emotion is, feel into it. It's energy that needed to be placed into motion. With a reaction, you can bring it into conscious awareness, forgive yourself and release it. If you choose to, if you're aware to do it, or the ego will take the reaction, shove down the learning. There's no opportunity to learn. Down goes that same experience that can't be put into motion, into righteousness. And we go deeper into our contraction. So congratulations. I'm going to say that till the cows come home. Every invitation is an invitation.
Okay, well, thank you for
So,
that
yeah.
interpretation. I appreciate it.
Think about it while we're here. What was, and it's easiest if you go into one singular emotion.
I think disrespect. I felt very disrespected, and I don't even believe it was, at the end of the day, I don't even think it was about the car. I think it was about something that this person, some resentment from something else that they weren't able to express. So they kind of use this as an excuse to just whatever, release all their emotions. And I'm aware of that too, that it wasn't about the car. But it didn't, in this situation, having that knowledge didn't help me to bridge whatever this place was that the person had gone into.
So feel into the disrespect, and where have you disrespected somebody like that and it will come to you. If you say, Holy Spirit, help me get my lesson, that person is going to come up. The situation is going to come up clear as day, clear as mud. And it's going to arise into your consciousness to give you the opportunity for you to see, well, how would that person like to have been treated when I disrespected them? And that will give you an opportunity to, if you feel up to it, if it's the right time and you're guided to it, to be able to reach back to them.
Oh gosh, I think I know exactly what it is now that I'm thinking about it.
All right, so hold on to that thought.
Okay.
Use this, what we're going to be talking about to gain clarity. if that person is still alive, you can ask for forgiveness, you can amend with that person. And then the person that you had the situation in the kitchen with, you can, or about the car, you can say to them, you know what, thank you so much. If it's the kind of a relationship that this can happen, I had a son or have a son, Spencer, we were able to do that. I would go to him, oh my God, you know, what just happened? It brought up a memory of something that I needed to heal. I'm so sorry that this came up between us, but I'm so grateful because look, I did this to somebody else. And what you activated was for me to be able to forgive that. So I come to you with gratitude. Now that somebody who is not used to that might go, what the hell are you talking about? But if it's somebody who's used to that, that's the kind of relationship you have, you're using the relationship to both elevate each other in consciousness. It's powerful and very healing. But listen to whatever we're going to be talking about, because I'm sure there's more to help you unpack.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Even
Thank
though, and this may matter, it may not matter, in trying to find a parallel. I mean, I've never destroyed somebody's personal property
Doesn't
because
matter.
of,
Doesn't
okay,
matter.
yeah, like
The
that I can't
destruction-
relate to at all.
No. The energy, the destruction of property is the destruction of relationship, is the same energy.
Mhm. Okay.
In that moment, it got your attention through property, where with this other situation that came up, it might have destroyed the connection, the opportunity for have that intimate connection. So don't use it literally. It's just a feeling. It comes up and it gives you a flavor. And like you said, it came to your mind. Holy Spirit, right now, all of the energies are being activated in support of those who want to wake up. So we're going to be able to remember things faster,
Mhm,
go
mhm.
right to them and clear them with a lot more ease. But enjoy the opportunity for healing.
Okay. No, I think I know exactly what it is.
Thank
So
you.
thank you. I wouldn't have
Absolutely.
put that together at all
Oh, I'm so
without
glad.
your guidance. Thanks.
Absolutely. I am so glad you're here. So glad. All right, Vern, Dr. Vern.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I had a situation that occurred and it led up to Thanksgiving. I've been going to Unity North to the Course in Miracles class, which I've been going there for years. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And as you know, the church has been going through all kinds of stuff around COVID and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And so we've all been showing up and social distancing and wearing our mask. And of course, everybody it's amazing to me. Everybody's sitting there complaining about it, but we're sitting there doing it. And I went to a Unity men's meeting the Saturday before this first Sunday of occurrence. And when I walked into the meeting, it was in a classroom just like the course is in. There were about 20 guys in there, and none of them had masks on, including a board member was in there. So here I am sitting in a classroom just like I was in A Course in Miracles the week before, and nobody was wearing a mask. Richard even walked in and sat in the back for about 20 minutes, and he didn't have a mask on. So I thought, wow, this is great. You know, they finally came to their senses. This is going to be, you know, we're going to start moving forward here. And so I left and that. So the next Sunday I walked into the Course in Miracles and everybody's sitting there with their mask on. And I said, oh, we don't have to wear a mask anymore. I just shared Saturday, the Saturday before the Sunday, I explained to them what happened in the men's group and that. So they all got excited. They took their masks down and that, and they started relaxing. We had a great class. I walk out, and the next thing I hear is that I was lying.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm going, I'm sorry, I was not lying. This is exactly what happened. And I just shared what I thought. And by the way, when I said, no, it's up to each one of you to, you know, to do what you want to do. I said, because if you want to wear a mask, it's fine with me, but I'm not going to wear it. So the next Sunday I come, so like I said, it's a building process. Next Sunday I come, and I walked in, and that's when they confronted me, basically said, oh, and they all got their mask on again. And so, we wore the mask for that class. And then I left. And I decided, okay, well, I'm just going to go through Zoom. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to go through this. So I turn on Zoom, and guess what? They're all sitting there. Peter Breeze comes in, who's a good friend of mine and who was at the men's group as well. He comes in and tells everybody we don't have to have our mask on. So I'm sitting at home now through Zoom. Okay, they're all, they take their mask off, and they're having a good class. And I'm going, okay, well, whatever. So and Peter verified what had happened for me. So I got an apology from everybody, which was, it was okay. But here's the frosting on the cake. Last Sunday I was there. And I walked in, and guess what? They all have their mask on again. And I walked in, and I sat down. And I sat there for about 10 minutes until finally several people said, you got to have your mask on. You're going to be in the class, because otherwise we won't be able to have our classes here anymore. And I said, I'm not going to put a mask on. So Laina, bless her heart, to the best of her ability.
Yes.
I said, look, I'm not trying to be disrespectful here. I said, but this is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. And she says, well, we just got the rules in this morning. And because upstairs in the sanctuary, the first service is the early service. They got it now. You have to wear a mask if you're in the forward part of the building. But if you sit way in the back of the church, way in the back area, you don't have to have a mask on if you social distance at least 6 feet from everybody. So the rule is that if you're in a place that has less than, by the way, you have to have less than 50 people, and you social distance, then it's okay. So I got up out of my chair and I said, what do you want me to do? And Laina says, well, why don't you sit in the back, back of the room, the classroom, like over in the corner over there, and then you'll be the distance thing. So I got up and I walked in the back, and I'm sitting in the corner of the room. And it felt like, when I was in school, most of you guys know I was an outstanding student all through school. In particular, when I was in grade school, because I was always outstanding in the hall. And to me, it was like, it felt, I was waiting for the dunce cap to come on. So here I am sitting in the back of the Course in Miracles class in the corner by myself. I didn't have my mask on. And everybody else up in front all cuddled together with their deal. We got to Zoom. So here we got Zoom going on. We got the regular class going on with mask, and I'm sitting in the back without the mask. And I'm sitting there, and I wanted to get up so bad, or I wanted to say something so bad, but I decided not to. I decided I was just going to sit there. I'm in my space. I'm doing what I want to do. They're doing what they want to do. Everybody's doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting, because that's exactly what I said to myself about what my beliefs are. Everybody should be able to have the freedom to choose. And I'm sitting right there in the incubator in one room, demonstrated exactly what I've been talking about. And I got that towards the end of the class. So I'm sitting there, and when it came my turn to share, I said, I'm going through a lot, and I'm going through a lot of emotions right now. I'm feeling pretty upset about what's happening with all of this. And I just shared, because I was feeling upset. However, and I just explained to them exactly. I said, this will be fine with me. But I find it very interesting that I'm sitting in the Unity Church in a room of A Course in Miracles students that have these psycho-spiritual understandings. And I'm sitting in the back of the room. That, to me, was just, you talk about a wake-up call about what's going on. And so then I go out when the class is over. I went in the coffee area where you're not supposed to be, unless you social distance. So you knew where the coffee area is. So I'm sitting there, having my cup of coffee, no mask on, no nothing. 2 or 3 people come over. Pretty soon I got 6 people sitting with me with no mask on, drinking coffee. So it's like, it's all over the place. It's up and down. It's up and down. Yes and no, yes and no. So I just made my mind up. I said, I'm going to go where I want to go, and I'm going to be who I am. And if they don't want to sit close to me, I have no problem with that. But I just found it really, really interesting that here we are in this free-loving group of people that are so, so trapped. You know, and of course, all these people come up to me afterwards, Laina, and they were in the class and said, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, I didn't want you sitting in the back of the class and that, you know, I don't like it. And they all said, I don't like this either, but nobody would say anything and nobody would do anything. So I know it's a long story, but
No,
so I was thankful. Okay. Thanksgiving. Okay. I was thankful that I had the opportunity of basically, you know, sort of living my truth. And at the same time, respecting other people, you know, so it is possible to have all levels represented. Now, at any moment, if they would insist upon me leaving, that would be a whole different story. So I just thought I'd share that, just that so even in our spiritual communities where everything is love and light, tremendous amount, I'll put it this way, not darkness, but a lot of clouds.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing. And we are having to face every single aspect of everything. And what have we given authority to? Have we given authority to the unity teachings or the Science of Mind teachings or the Course in Miracles teachings? Are we giving authority out there? And if we are, we have to at some point realize that we're creating the illusion of that has authority. And then because that we have to acknowledge what is it that we're trusting. Then we have to be honest. Am I trusting that from fear, from guilt, from apathy, from desire, from anger, from pride? You know, there is a coming to Jesus right now. We are at the point where honesty, true honesty, radical honesty is necessary. And that radical honesty requires that we acknowledge, are we operating from fear? Because people say, oh, I'm not afraid. I'm just putting the mask. It's no big deal. If you are totally, completely enjoying the game and you weave in and out of situations with mask, no mask, you put it on, you take it off. You know, I fly, I put it on. I don't care. To me, it's all a game. I'm moving through a movie set. All of this entire experience is a movie set. Do I want to experience my performance as a mask wearer from love? Or am I going to be down here with my ego and resentment and anger and whatever? If I'm experiencing the lower frequencies, it's old stuff that has to come up for healing so that it can come into the awareness of the presence of love as a call for me to love that part of myself that is getting activated. And the love and light community, even the Course in Miracles community, my friend Rose here can speak to this because we're in many Course in Miracles circles together. Just because you know truth in your head, just because you talk it, this is the realm of talking it, doesn't mean you walk it. And the congruency comes when we have those irritations. They invite us to see, where have I lost my ability to stay in love, joy, and peace, and enjoy the performance, and allow the Holy Spirit to guide me through whatever comes out of my mouth. Let what comes out of my mouth be something that is God-led, because sometimes things come out of my mouth, they're funny. Sometimes things come out of my mouth, they're serious. Sometimes things come out of my mouth, you know, they're very pointed. Sometimes they're, you know, nothing important. But when I know it comes through from the Holy Spirit, I never feel guilt about what came out of my mouth. I feel no ownership about what came out of my mouth. I don't have to defend it because I let myself become a vessel. And we have to all become those vessels, because right in the middle of the CDC, in the middle of the FDA, in the middle of the White House, in the middle of the Senate, in the middle of the dining room table at home, in the middle of the Course in Miracles class at Unity, in the middle of traffic, we have got to be present to every opportunity available for healing. And the healing, you only need to heal when you react. If you can respond, you don't need to heal. You're healed. The reaction is a reenactment of old stuff. Only the old needs to be healed. So I'm so grateful that you shared what you shared. Here's a way to solve all of this. Just put dinner tables all over Unity, put dinner tables in any classroom, because we're told that we can go to a restaurant and we can sit at a table and we don't catch anything because COVID doesn't hurt anybody on a dinner table. So walk around. Maybe we all need to carry portable dinner tables, and that way we don't ever have to wear a mask. We wear the mask while we're carrying our portable dinner table. We put the table down and COVID goes away. Maybe that's what we need to do. Craziness. All right.
Laina, they have masks now. The new masks that are coming up, and by the way, they're making designer masks now. That's like a $500 mask.
Fun.
Designer mask, okay. But they're making them now with holes in it so you can have straw, so you don't have to take it down when you're drinking.
Isn't that creative?
Because they said if you're drinking or you're eating, you don't, if you're drinking or you're eating or if you're in front of a microphone, this is the new rules now.
Okay.
Okay. If you're drinking, if you're eating, or you're in front of a microphone, then you can have the mask down as long as you're actively doing one of those three activities.
Great.
So, can you imagine? Now you're going to have a hole in the mask.
Yeah. It's funny. So I'll walk around with a fork in my mouth.
It's nuts, man.
It
really is. And I think more and more people are starting to see it, how unintelligent this whole process is.
And that's
they're
part
picking
of,
up on it.
yeah. And that's part of the game. Part of the game is that it has to get, for some, it has to get really serious and horrible before they wake up. For some people, it gets silly because everybody's at different levels of consciousness. The people who are at a higher frequency, the silliness of it is enough to wake them up. People at a lower level of consciousness, the fear, the control, the mandates, the passports, it needs to get harder, more serious for them to wake up. So we're all being met where we are to help us wake up. So thank you for that story. All right, so let's get into, and Jen, I put in the notes where we are. So we're in chapter 27, section 7. We are the dreamer of the dream. Let's read paragraph 10. Okay, what could you choose between but life or death, waking or sleeping, peace or war, your dreams or your reality? There are only two choices. That's it. To be alive is not your physical body being alive, but you accessing the eternal life that you are. Are you walking around connected to the truth of who you are, expanded in the ultimate consciousness that you are non-physical, eternal? Are you walking with that knowledge, or are you operating from your ego, having you be afraid that you're going to die? That's what this means by, are you operating between death and life? Because the death that the ego has us believe in, that's it, that's final, we die and that's it, go to hell. For most of us, that's the teachings, misteachings, lies that we've been taught, keep us all walking around in a state of complete misalignment, which means dead inside. We are not connected to God inside because we are operating with fear of death. That's what's present to our minds. So this insanity caused us to create a dream of a bunch of people fearing death. So does it have to get pretty bad? Guilting people, you're not wearing a mask, you're getting everybody else sick. For some, it's gonna need to get pretty bad before they can see the insanity. For some, What? A hole in the mask, designer, $500? Okay, this is really silly. I can see through the game. And the game has players. We're players in the game. How do you want to play the game? With conscious awareness and realize this is just a temporary experience? Or are you playing the game without awareness, reacting to what's happening? That's why we have to realize that we're the dreamer of the dream. So powerful. Because if you have peace in your heart, you are going to be operating at the level of conscious awareness that this is an eternal game that you're playing in a temporary body, as Vern, as Laina, as a student of A Course in Miracles, going to Unity, seeing the incongruencies. When you can see the incongruencies out there, go, where have I been incongruent in here? Because that irritation is the invitation to come inside and see where are you placing your trust? And that requires incredible honesty. So sentence 2, there is a risk of thinking death is peace. Oh, we say it, rest in peace. People died, now they're finally at peace. Because the ego wants you to think that peace comes after you exit, which is part of the attraction to death for the ego, that it allows for us to be miserable here, then I'll rest later on. Crazy shit. Because the world equates the body with the self, the higher self, which God created. God did not create us to have peace when we die. God created us to be at peace, knowing that there is no death. We've got to get comfortable. We are a piece of something grand and miraculous that doesn't end. It's eternal. So in this temporary experience, what we are waking up to is we don't have to play the game suffering. We don't have to play the game with fear, but we need to raise our consciousness, move through the levels of consciousness within us. We're in chapter 27, section number 7, paragraph number 10. We have to move ourselves through the levels of thinking in our own mind. Take the elevator down to the basement of your consciousness. What are your lowest, most scary thoughts? Question them. What are your beliefs about death? What are your beliefs about punishment? What are your beliefs about being alone? Question those thoughts. Move through in that elevator your own internal consciousness. What are your beliefs about God? If you have fear of God, you're down here. You're contracted in your awareness of God. Until you know that you and God are one, you're made of the exact same thing. You can't be expanded, which means you can't be free. So we are having to sort out what we've been taught is true about God versus what we feel is true about God. And you can't really feel God until you come to the place of knowing this is all a dream. We are making it up as we go. We are non-physical beings having a physical experience. And until the commitment is to get to know yourself as non-physical, cultivate a relationship with your non-physical self. What is that? What does it feel like to be eternal? We cannot really fully know God, and we cannot feel the peace of God. It's not possible, because peace only comes when you know what you are. You are all that is. And that means that the person that's irritating you, you're that one too. So let me go on to sentence number 3, paragraph 10. Yet a thing can never be its opposite. How interesting. A thing, death cannot be its own opposite life. Love cannot be its own opposite fear. It's either love or it is fear. Where are you? Are you believing death or are you believing freedom? You cannot have the opposite be something that you equate as receiving. Oh yeah, when I die, I'll be at peace. No, you're either at peace or death is your reality, but they don't go together. So sentence number 4, and death is opposite to peace because it is the opposite of life. And again, when you think about life as stated in the Course in Miracles, it is eternal life. And life is peace. When you know that you're eternal, you're at peace with all that is, because you know you're playing on a merry-go-round. This is a temporary experience. You hop in, you enjoy it, you hop out with the death experience. It's a doorway, it's a portal in and out. You're coming in and out, exiting stage left. It's the vehicle that we use for completion, and birth is the vehicle that we use for the beginning of a physical incarnation. I'm going to do a talk on just incarnation. Sentence number 6, awaken and forget all thoughts of death, and you will find that you have the peace of God. Let me read number 7. Yet, if the choice is really given you, then you must see the cause of the things you choose between exactly as they are and where they are. Are you choosing to believe in the things that create discomfort? Then where are you? Your consciousness is pretty low. Your mind has been contracted. You're operating in a spiral. Your mind, instead of having access to all information, instead of operating with all the information available to you, you have decided all of that is not your truth. It's not possible. It's not possible. Your only truth is that tiny little bit that you let yourself receive as possible. If you think God is this way, a man on a cloud, if that's your truth, you're living with a small idea of God until you choose to expand and release that thought as being the only truth. Well, what else could God be? Oh, God can be on a cloud. God can be in a palm tree. God can be surfing the waves. God can be on planet Pluto. Oh, my idea of God is expanding. Oh, God can be a human. God can be a grain of sand. God can be, a shooting star. Then your idea of God is expanding until God is everything and you are one with that, because if God is everywhere, it's got to be in you. We haven't reached fully what God is. So the mind has to be unwound. We have to be willing to question all of that. And what you're going to end up with at the end, once you are comfortable that God is everything and it's what you are, then if you and the Father are one, the kingdom of heaven is the peaceful place that exists inside of you. From that peaceful place, what do you want to create instead? Humanity has been co-creating with one another with the ego. We've been co-creating systems that are contracted. We, the ego, look at red tape, look at the government's red tape, look at the school's red tape. To graduate, you got to pass this, that. It used to be so simple. You learned the lesson, you took a test, you were done. Now, this certification, that certification, this, that, so many things. What are those obstacles? The ego puts obstacles, all designed to put the mind in a cage. Eventually, it looks like a maze. So we've got to look at all of the obstacles the ego has created, because that's where all the suffering comes from. All these laws that get created, when you look at how follow the money, they benefit always there is a benefit to a very small few group of people. Most of the rules and regulations that get placed, if you read them on the surface, they sound, oh yeah, we're going to feed the hungry. But to feed the hungry, well, you've got to have a sanitized official kitchen, and it has to be somebody with this degree for preparing food that is special, because you must have a degree to prepare food by something that has been approved by Congress. And to be approved by Congress, you got to get the certification of somebody who is interested in cooking for blah, 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 blah. And before you know it, you look at where all of that goes, because you can only serve one master, God or money. Ego is all about money, because we've been attached to the belief that to have it, it makes you somebody. So you follow all of those crazy rules, and the kitchen has to be this way. So now we've got to buy special equipment. So who's going to make the money for the special equipment? Well, the person who is part of this deal, that their special equipment, plus this school that gives you the special certification to cook the special food that only Congress can approve, and then the special people who package the food, who grow the food, who put the GMOs in the food. And before you know it, what trickles down to actually feed the people? Practically nothing, because the ego is always taking care of itself. We are waking up to seeing that. But most of us don't look at what happens below the surface because we hear, oh yes, Congress just passed something that gives $1 billion to serve humanity, to feed humanity, or to clean the environment. But we don't see all of the red tape that the ego has created. Why? Because our mind has been so conditioned to not pay attention to the insanity in the mind. And we don't look at the insanity in our mind because that requires that we look at the insanity outside. It becomes a reflection. That's why that irritation, Jen, that you experience is a reflection for you. If you don't like the red tape, where do you have red tape in your mind? Where is your mind all full of conditions? I can only love a certain person if they do this or do that. We have to get clear. You're either dead inside or you're fully alive. If you're fully alive, you're the creator of your reality. You're the master creator of your reality. How do you want to create? If you're going to operate here, you have to operate with trust. You trust people. Things become transparent. You operate down here. You can't trust anybody. It's control. It's secrecy. It's blocking. It's a maze. It's a crazy maze inside of your mind. Paragraph 11 says, so what choice can be made between two states? Two states, conscious, unconscious, awake, asleep, operating from love, operating from fear, listening to the voice of God, listening to the voice of ego. You have to keep it simple. You're always choosing between flowing with what is or blocking it. That's it. You're being what you are or you're being what you're not. That's it. But at the end of the day, as we studied in our class last week, we have to be thankful that we're always in the mind of God. In this incarnation, you get off the merry-go-round, you're still non-physical. So while you are incarnated and you wake up, you played the game incarnated with joy, where everybody gets to co-create from love, not fear, from trust, not mistrust, from integrity and truth and transparency, not lies and secrets and darkness. That's what is happening in here. We have to question the thoughts in here. Then you become the change you want to see in the world. Because once you get transparent with your own self and you see your own BS, your own bullshit, I know I still look at my bullshit. Then you go out into the world, somebody who is transparent. And you will not be invited as a transparent person to be in circles that operate in insanity. They won't want you there. Yeah, that's why the media groups that promote fake news, lies, they don't want transparent people talking about their secrets. So the transparent beings operate at a different level of frequency. They find each other. And the people who want to hear transparent information find the ones who share transparent information, just as the ones who need to be fed lies because they're not looking at their lies internally gravitate to the news that feeds them the same, the lies that feed the story, because it's all frequency. So what choice can be made between two states, but one of which is clearly recognized? So who could be free to choose between effects when only one is seen as up to him? We cannot choose between love and fear when our mind, while we're asleep. Let me clarify that. While our mind has been conditioned to believe that this is the only choice we have. Notice how many times you have said, or you hear people saying about these masks, about these jabs, well, I have no choice. I have to do it because otherwise I lose my pension, I lose my job, I lose my opportunity to be in school, I lose my opportunity to see my grandmother at the nursing home. We have been conditioned to believe that we do not have choice. And the Course tells us that's a choice to believe that you don't have a choice. We have the power to choose all the time. And when we decide that we have to do things because we don't have a choice, we're lying to ourselves. If we participate in the choice by making a choice to do that thing that we're being told we don't have a choice about, that's a different story. Because now you're saying, oh, I'm going to play the game this way. Why not? Let me just do it this way. but you're conscious that whatever effects happen, whatever consequences happen, you are okay. You're cool with that because you're playing the game with conscious awareness. Now you are free to choose because you know how you feel. You're not going to be angry if your choice has a detrimental consequence, because you're going to enjoy. I wonder what that feels like to have that experience from that choice that I made. And that is so important that we understand that. So sentence number 3, an honest choice could never be perceived as one in which the choice is split between a tiny you and an enormous world with different dreams about the truth in you. That can sound like a convoluted sentence, but let's break it down. Let me read that first part again. So we're using the words exactly as the Course gives us. An honest choice could never be perceived as one in which the choice is split between a tiny you and this enormous world out there. When you are prepared to enjoy the enormous world, oh, today we're playing the math game. Oh, today we're playing the jab game. I'll take it, I won't take it. I see what's happening here. I see divine beings, like let's say Dr. Fauci or Biden or Ghislaine Maxwell or whatever, whoever you, Hitler, doesn't matter, Mother Teresa. When you can see that being as having come from the same place you did, non-physical energy, and they chose to have their experience, they chose to descend into lower levels of consciousness. This is a choice. To incarnate is a choice, and you come at whatever level you left in the previous incarnation. So somebody who was down here in the previous incarnation is going to incarnate to live that out so they can choose again to go higher. Well, we have a lot of people who are choosing to do they've been doing it. We're opening up our eyes to see that just because they're in charge doesn't mean that they have our best interests at heart. So we are learning so many things about what happens when we give our power away. So we are having to get clear that let me read this again. An honest choice could never be perceived as one in which the choice is split between a tiny you and an enormous world. To be awake is to live up here. You're making the choices. Accept that you incarnated. Accept that what is happening is happening. Acceptance is key. Acceptance is right there. Because if you're not in acceptance, you cannot access the mind of God. You cannot reason with God. If you don't accept it, then you are having the willingness to neutralize your ability to connect with God because you have chosen the courage to enter into the realm of the ego. All these people playing evil deeds, they have the courage to descend into density because they know before they incarnate that there are going to be those of us who are going to forgive them. And in our forgiveness, they'll be able to ascend. They'll be able to give up their shame and their guilt when they feel the forgiveness, like Jesus did with the person who crucified him. I forgive you, brother. You don't know what you're doing. That, you don't read a whole lot about that person who crucified them unless you read channel material and you recognize that soldier, he had to leave. He couldn't keep doing what he was doing because he felt the unconditional love from Jesus who forgave him. And that changed him, that made him move into higher levels of consciousness. So we have to make an honest choice. Am I a tiny little person at the mercy of the outer world, or am I an enormous being choosing a specific situation? Choose to be in the house, in the kitchen with a person who can't use my car, or at Unity sitting in a Course in Miracles class that teaches that you're not a body, you're free, that teaches you. I mean, this is the only teaching that I have found where it tells you specifically, don't believe that a shot can help you, because it cannot. I mean, it tells you specifically that pills and anything ingested is not going to help you. That's an illusion. But anyhow, when we accept how powerful we are, we realize that we're dreaming the dream. And once you realize you're the dreamer of the dream, wouldn't you want to create a happy dream? That's what the course wants to lead us to. Accept that you're the dreamer. Now, what do we want to create? Well, with the shift to love or above, many are going to raise to the level of creating a happy dream. That's what is often known as the 5D Earth. It's a new world. It's a new earth that Eckhart Tolle talked about. And one of the things Eckhart Tolle talked about in his book, A New Earth, is that humanity has to make a collective agreement, collective consciousness. Many of us are drawing to each other because we are coming up with solutions. We're coming up with new ways of doing things that weren't here before. They're out of the box. They're not the norm. They're about healing with natural things. It's about connecting with God. It's about trusting the immunity of the body. It's about trusting our connection to God. It's about trusting that if you say you are at peace and you're good and you know you're not going to be sick, I trust you to believe that about you, because who can know you better than you? Those people were gathering. This frequency is gathering. This frequency is gathering. The bifurcation is those who are in fear, they are moving. Every single time you give in to more of these mandates, more of the controls, more of the limitations, you are moving towards that contraction. It's perfectly okay. We need to sit back and be okay. If you're not okay with those who are contracting, you are contracted, period, because you're in a state of judgment of what they're doing. When you free yourself to flow with what is, accept that everybody's a powerful creator creating what they're creating, whether they're aware of it or not is none of our business. Our business is to become clear that I'm a powerful creator. I see that you're having a hissy fit. I see that you've got these crazy mandates. I'm happy for you, but I love you. I want to be here with you. I'd rather have a relationship with you than not. But if you are upset with me or you can't be with me because you of this mandate or this, you're mad because I didn't give you the car or whatever it might be, I am still going to love you anyways. I want you to know that I am not going to use whatever is going on with you for me to stop loving you, because I made a decision to operate from love or above, which means I'm not going to shut down. I'm not going to contract and pull love from you, because if I pull love from you, I'm feeding my ego. I'm believing that I deserve to separate from you. And I just don't feed my ego anymore. So I'm operating in the expansion. God needs those whose minds have been opened to enjoy the insanity of those who are operating in contraction, to use us as examples. We've had them before. We had Jesus, we had Gandhi, we had Martin Luther King Jr. And they were onesie twosies here in places that was so uncommon. Now we've got thousands of patriots, thousands of people who are really clear that they're walking the talk. It's impossible for there not to be a bifurcation, because this planet is big enough for there to be different communities, for people to say, no, I'm not going to be part of this. Just as the founding fathers left the motherland over there in the UK, we can in this country secede. I think that's the word. We can have our own space, and more realizing that they don't have to be believe that they are confined by what the world says. Why? Because we are making a choice, an honest choice, to not operate from our tiny little self, operate from tiny little ideas that humans have created. The gap between reality and dreams lies not between the dreaming of the world and what you dream in secret. They are one. That is so powerful. The gap between the reality, the truth of who you are, and the dream, that gap between those two, it's all one thing. We're in a dream, dreaming, no matter what. When you wake up, you still wake up in a dream. You're waking up to see that it is a dream, and you are now clear that it is a dream, and nobody else has the power to affect what happens inside of you. Yes, it appears that they can hurt your body. The car can run you over and body is dead, but you can still be at peace with that. You can still, because if you know that you're eternal, there was no death. So the waking up is not to go out of the dream, is to awaken in the dream. It's one and the same. The dreaming of the world is but a part of your own dream you gave away and saw as if it were its start and ending both. Oh, over there, they made me do this. They made me have this separate experience. No, I chose to have an experience of separation. So inside of the experience of separation, while I'm here playing this role, can I play it with love instead of fear? Can I use it to be my higher self, or am I going to use it to continue to be my contracted self? All that happens, consequence, you experience suffering. Consequence, you experience freedom. That's it. That's it. It's how you feel about the experience that we're waking up to, we get to create. We have power over how we experience the experience. 7, yet was it started by your secret dream, which you do not perceive, although it cost the part you see and do not doubt is real. How could you doubt it while you lie asleep and dream in secret that its cause is real? All that boils down to is it takes a lot of spiritual maturity to recognize that we are choosing to pretend to have a dream inside the mind of God. So we're having the dream of separation. I incarnate and I descend. To be enlightened is nothing more than a recognition that you are not this physical body. You're just the one who chose to, inside of being in the mind of God, to choose to have an experience of separation. So once we get comfortable that this experience of separation is by choice, we come back to the place that we're powerful. Take the power away from out there, bring it back in here, and then move through life enjoying what is happening. Frankly, you become amused. You see that this is nothing but a divine comedy. It's really comical. Here's a little assignment. I want you to watch the news, whatever news you watch. And I want you to begin to enjoy the performance of those who talk to you as if they are the authority, the news authority. They speak to you with authority. This is the truth. The judge that gets to make a decision about a case, that is the ultimate truth. The president who thinks that they run this place and they can tell you what's going to happen. The Congress who makes the laws. I want you to watch with amusement how these people think that they have power over you. And just go, wow, isn't that funny? They have gone through jumped through all the hoops to get the certification, the education, the votes, even if they cheated for them, it doesn't matter. In their mind, they think that they did what they were supposed to do to have this position of power. People who operate thinking that they have power over others are so disconnected from the truth. They deserve our compassion and a good laugh. And a good laugh. I know, because I was there. I thought I was so powerful and I was the boss of this and the boss of that and the boss of this one and the boss of that one. And when you get to the place that you realize nobody has power over anybody else, we're all non-physical beings, all equally endowed with the same power. We're equal. It's even in our Constitution. We're all equally endowed. When we stop fearing one another, we stop giving anybody our power. That's why it's so important that you realize we're all dreaming the dream. They're dreaming they have power. We're dreaming we have no power. So if you wake up, so they don't have power over me because I'm not dreaming the dream that I'm powerless. I'm inside of this experience, realizing we're all equal. compassion kicks in, because then you can be honest. This is where you make an honest choice. I'm going to forgive them. I'm going to experience life while I'm in the dream up here with conscious awareness of who I am, who they are, compassion that they're lost inside of the dream, but that's okay. That's what they want to experience. The person who wants to be mad at you because you didn't loan them the car, they want to experience being angry. Why would you choose to be upset that they want to have that experience? They're a powerful creator. You, Jen, focus on what do you want to experience? I want to experience compassion. If you can't, it's because they activated something that you get to have compassion with you first, then you can have it for them. Everything that is an irritation is an invitation to heal old stuff. We're waking up to create a new dream. You can't create a new dream with the old mind that created the crap that doesn't work anymore. So we've got to clean our mind of old beliefs. You know you have an old belief when you have a new reaction. It's a new reaction to an old belief. Reaction, reenacting the same crap over and over and over again. So you're a powerful creator. Are you going to own it? Are you going to own it? If you do, you'll be able to unwind your mind, because only by believing you create your dream are you willing to be honest enough to look at your thoughts, because that is what creates your reality. You know, I think about those beautiful people, Vern, you were talking about, wonderful friends of ours who teach. Unity has five simple principles. They're very, very simple. As a matter of fact, I keep them in my phone. They're so beautiful. They're so simple. I'm going to pull them up because I want to read these beautiful principles to you. God is in everything and everywhere. All right, beautiful. God's in it. Course in Miracles says that. Principle 2, God's divinity is in everyone. Everybody has God's divinity, which means everybody's a powerful creator, right? Yeah, but that's Course in Miracles tells us that. Number 3, we co-create our life with God, creating reality through our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. That means we're creating our reality with what we're thinking. If you think you need a mask, you need a pill, you need a jab, you need something to be okay, you're creating your own reality. But here's the question. Can you be honest that you're creating a reality that puts power outside of you? That's where awakening happens. If you are honest, if God is in you, God's divinity is in everyone, principle 2. Principle 3 will only work in an awakened state if God's power is in you. If God's power is outside of you, you're creating the reality that something has power outside of you. Principle 4, through prayer and meditation, we align our heart and mind with God. Through thoughts, words, and actions, we live the truth we know. Our thoughts, our words, and actions show people, I'm putting the mask, I believe that there's something out there that I need to protect myself from, or I believe that I have the power to keep you from getting sick. That means that the beliefs that are in our mind are creating the reality that power is inside of us or power is outside of us. The dreamer knows I'm playing the game that has power over me. There's no problem with that. It's okay, because consciously, if you're operating at this frequency, you're just going to be having fun playing that game. Like an actor playing a role of a murderer. Oh, how fun it is to play the role of a murderer. But you know you're not a murderer. If you want to wake up, you have to recognize that then power's in you. If power's in you, what reality do you want to create? Because that's what this whole experience is about. I'm choosing to experience myself as separate from God so that I can use my godly powers to create an experience that causes me to feel something. Am I feeling loving, joyful things, or am I feeling uncomfortable things? Either one, we are creating it. That is to be awake. You know nothing is happening to you. You are creating all of it. Once you're awake, from this place of joy, from this place of peace. It is not possible that you would ever create something for someone that requires them to contract themselves. You won't create fences around you. You don't need boundaries, because who would you leave out? Because if you leave somebody out, you think they have power over you. But to get to that level of consciousness is to be at the level of a Jesus. I'm not there for sure. I still have my growth to do. My greatest growth is in that video that is going to come out in the newsletter tomorrow. My greatest growth is I refuse to go down from fear. So I got a ways to go, but my growth is to hold the truth that I can be loving no matter what. I can bring love to every situation if I so choose to, because I know I create my fear by blocking love. So if I don't want to live in fear and discomfort, then I need to not block love. How do you block love? By thinking a thought that says somebody has power over me. Something has power over me. I don't want to think that anymore, because I prefer the feeling of expansion that happens inside of me when I can love those people who are creating the reality, however they're creating it. If we don't like the rules that somebody's, whatever reality they're creating, don't go there. If you can go there and be your loving presence because you enjoy what you're experiencing there as you are, Vern, go there and know that you can be entertained by the situation. And the Holy Spirit will use you. God will use you to say whatever needs to be said, whenever it needs to be said. And if something comes out of our mouths that is egoic, it's because we need to see that. If something comes out of our mouth that is high frequency and loving, it's because we need to see that. We need to see that we get to determine if we are listening to the voice for God or the voice for ego. That's it. That is it. Where all the power lies. I know we're coming here to the completion of our time together. So before I open this up to hear any nuggets that anybody got, look for that newsletter where I created a video, so you'll have to watch the video. The newsletter is a link basically to the video. I'm not going to have Living A Course in Miracles in December. It's just too much going on in December. I'll be sending out information in probably first of next week about the year-long mastery course. Is going to be online on Zoom. We're going to be using A Course of Love. We are going to be spending time, look at my book, how many notes, in the 40 days and 40 nights towards the back of A Course of Love. If you think you're going to want to participate, start reading A Course of Love. We're not going to read the front part. We're only going to focus on the 40 days, 40 nights. We're going to be together for 44 weeks. We're going to spend 1 week in every one of those practices. So we have time to integrate it. It's going to be about walking the talk, holding each other accountable to that. So look for that. And other than that, if you like these videos, please share them. I mean, this is free information. If this uplifts you, then post it on your social media. Let somebody else be able to find this link. I would so appreciate anything that you do to spread truth. So now I want to hear from you. Yay, Jen. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be a small group. Not going to do more than 12 apostles. When that number came to me, 12 apostles, how fun. We're going to help each other really live the truth of that, of A Course of Love, which is channeled by Jesus as a continuation to A Course in Miracles. And where A Course in Miracles makes really clear the distinction between ego and God, the mind for ego and the mind for God. Course of Love is how do I embody living from as love? So it's a different, totally different practice. All right, unmute yourselves, please. And what nuggets did you get from today's call? Jody, so glad that you were able to join us. Patricia, so glad you joined and you jumped in. But unmute yourselves, and Rose, you're unmuted. What nuggets did you get from today?
Well, I was integrating it with kind of, experiences that I've had, and what sort of came to me was we had a couple of gatherings with where I live in Pennsylvania area is mostly where my husband's family is. And had a lot of gatherings with that, and I have felt very, you know, I guess I feel torn, because it's like I feel part of that family, and yet I feel like a lot of times it's not fun. And then I was just thinking, well, why don't I make it fun? You know, I'm sitting here, I'm not a victim of it. I'm not, I have power. I'm not. So anyway, that was kind of how, and then, you know, where there were situations where, you know, certain family members just keep, you know, saying the same thing or whatever. I feel like I'm gonna just have to start making it fun, like creating what I want. And, you know, and let go of the judgment. So, yeah. And so this is a good time for that, because now Christmas will be coming up, and there'll be more gatherings. So this is my challenge, and my, yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, you know, what game can you play? You can come in and say, hey, people, we always sit around and talk about the same thing. Let's play this game. Bring the fun, bring the joy, and you coming in, not judging is bringing fun already, because you're bringing joy if you're not in judgment. So very cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Miss Jody, did you get some nuggets? Jen, I want to hear, did what we said help give you any more clarity with what you shared earlier?
Oh, definitely. You know, just it kind of goes back to, I think we were talking about this a couple of weeks back, that we can't really expect more out of a person who's operating at a certain conscious level of consciousness. And just to, I like the, hey, we're just moving through the game concept, because then you can keep your sense of humor a little better. Yeah. And just kind of sit back and go, wow, that was crazy, but not get personally activated by it, which is becoming more and more my default, just because of these teachings and the way you're explaining it to where it's accessible enough to put into action, and it's not just in our heads. So I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, good. Well, yes, once we can be in kind of laughing, it becomes humorous. The way to be humorous but not move into righteousness is to just recognize, well, where have I done that? Because if you can recognize that you've done that also, or you're capable of doing that, maybe not in this lifetime, but in another lifetime, you might have done it. Now it equalizes, it makes all of us equal. We've got to get back to what the Course and the Constitution say. We're all created equal. When we equalize in our mind, we move out of righteousness. That's when we become the one who will teach how to do things differently, because our actions will teach differently. So, for example, Rose going to the next gathering, instead of going, oh my God, we're going to talk about the same old thing, it's going to be boring, that's a judgment. I'm better than they are. I'm not boring. They're boring. I don't want to be with boring people. Well, then instead of thinking you're boring and be righteous, be fun. And then you are equalizing, because you're inviting them to play instead of in judgment of I'm not as boring as you are. I don't repeat whatever. Where have I done that? Where have I been boring before? Where could somebody say that I was boring? Once you do that, everything changes. Thank you so much, Jen, for being with us. Patricia, looks like you wanted to share. No? Well,
Can I just say something, Laina?
Yes, Rose.
I just wanted to also add, sorry, I meant to say this. There's been a lot of people within A Course in Miracles community and A Course of Love, and Laina and I have talked about this, who are, taking different perceptions of the jab, shall we say. And I ended up being in touch with some people within that community, and a lot of people who I've been in touch with, I kind of haven't been. And I got a lot closer to Laina over this. But anyway, we have created I know this still old school with Facebook, but we have a Facebook group for people who it's the ACIM, Say Yes to Freedom, saying yes to freedom. So I just want to invite anybody on here who would like to join. Lina's on it. Lina, if you're friends with the people here, and I actually asked Laina to, I know she's been busy with babies, to post some of her material on there. And so anyway, I just wanted to let people know that, and it's a co-creation. I just was inspired to do that. Really, I kind of wanted to do it on Telegram, but certain people aren't on there, but it could expand there. Just to to be for freedom and not anyway, that's another space that Line is going to be there too. So everyone's invited.
Thanks for saying that, Rose. So if you're interested in being in that kind of a group, just send me a message and I'll send you, I'll add you to that group if you're already on Facebook. So thanks a bunch, Rose. All right, Miss Patricia.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm
Good to
here in
see you.
Austin, Texas since the 1st of February, November. I welcomed a new grandchild into the world on 11/11.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So my first too.
Oh, wow.
So my son came from Idaho here for Thanksgiving. And it's very interesting because when you get back into your family, you go back into old egoic behavior patterns and you try to stay in the space of love and your heart space, but then judgments start creeping up. And first thing you know, you're back in the dream, in the ego, playing and trying to be mindful of that and pull yourself out. Well, it was challenging. I actually ended up kind of in a sick with some sinus stuff and having to stay away from the baby. But I also realized it was a purging mechanism going on with them because it wasn't just physical, it became emotional, kind of spiritual. And I was very mindful of all this pain kind of bubbling up and crying. I was off by myself and not really knowing what was coming up or why, but it was some sort of purge. So we're in this eclipse window, right?
Yeah.
Where the 19th and then the December 4th. So it's a great time to start seeing that stuff and start purging it. But it's been challenging.
Yeah, it is.
On all levels, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And then I realized I'm not grounding myself every morning and spending time with Source, with God, to recharge me so that I can go out there and, be in that space of love from the heart space.
Great awareness. And things are intensifying because we're being called. There's enough of us who want to create the new earth. So the intensification is a gift to us, from us saying, all right, bring in the spotlights to make us aware of what it is that we need to heal within ourselves. So congratulations on the grandbaby and the healing and the awareness. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, good. Well, I look forward to seeing you all next week on Wednesday. That's going to be so much fun. Invite more people. Let's spread the news. And sorry we went a little longer, but this was wonderful. And if you want to join that group on Facebook, let me know. Course in Miracles, saying yes to freedom. Message me and I'll send you a link or add you, whatever. It's so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Vern, for your share. And Kat for yours earlier. And Crystal, thanks for being here. Dondra, everybody, thank you so much for being here. See you next week. If you'll unmute yourselves and please say goodbye. And spread some love. I love you all.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Stay well, stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Stay well.